Good morning, students. Today we are going to read a very important topic, that is cell membrane, in the subject of the biology A levels. And this question is very important because the questions from this topic sometimes in the form of the properties or the features of the cell membrane, and sometimes in the type of the functions of the cell membrane comes in the paper. So concentrate yourself. Cell membranes are lipoprotein structure. So this is the first point to remember. Cell membranes are lipoproteins structure, and with the carbohydrate moieties attached to the external surfaces of the membrane. So these are attached to the external surfaces of the membrane. The next point to remember is the lipids form a bilayer due to their hydrophilic polar heads and hydrophobic non-polar heads. So this is the next point to remember, that the lipids form a bilayer, and this bilayer is due to the presence of the hydrophilic polar heads and the hydrophobic non-polar tails. The next point to remember is, according to the fluid mosaic model, both lipids and proteins are in constant lateral diffusions in the plane of the membrane. So this is the very important point to remember, that the lipids and the proteins are in the constant state of the diffusion, provided that they are not restricted. The next point to remember about the cell membrane is the thickness of the membrane differs, occurring in the range of 5 to 10 nanometer, and the plasma membrane are 7.5 nanometer wide. So these are the features of the cell membrane. Now we are going to read some functions of the cell membrane. Number one, the first function, very important function of the cell membrane, is to separate the contents of the cell from their external environment. So they act like a barrier or a wall to separate the contents of the cell from the external environment. Number two is as a barrier controlling the exchange of the substances between the cell interior and the exterior. So this is almost the same function as given in the number one. So they behave like a barrier to control the exchange. So very controllable exchange of the substances are allowed by the cell membrane between the interior and the exterior. Next important function is to compartmentalize the organelles within a cell to allow specialized metabolic processes to occur. So the cell membrane actually behaves like the controller and gives specialized places or compartmentalize the organelles so that they can perform particular type of the functions. For example, the metabolic process is mentioned here. And the last important function of the cell membrane is to serve as the receptor sites for recognizing the external stimuli, for example, the hormones. So they behave like the eye of the cell, which recognizes the external stimuli. For example, the hormones are given as the example here. Thank you so much.